Let's get this party started. What's going on, everyone? Welcome. Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. How's everybody doing? We are live. At least, hopefully we're live. Sam was here a little bit early and said that he thinks there's something going on with YouTube. And I kind of agree with that because I got everything set up. I usually get everything going at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes ahead of time to get the stream rolling and all that sort of thing. And it like froze, everything disconnected. I don't know what happened. I had to restart the computer, restart YouTube, restart OBS, all of the things in order to get it working. So I think we're working. I don't know. I'm going to rely on you guys to let me know. I just need to get the chat. I can't see the chat. Where's that chat? I need that over here because, well, it's hard to chat with you all if I can't read what's going on. How's everybody doing today? It's on the workbench. Sorry, I am looking away from the camera because I'm trying to get this chat working here. There we go. There it is. Now I can scoot this so that the chat's right there. We're good to go, I think. Alrighty. Let's see here. Paul's here. Paul says, good morning. Hope your week's going well. Sam says, hello, everyone. Robert's here. Robert says, howdy, everyone. Howdy, everyone. Everybody's staying safe and healthy. We're doing awesome. We're doing great. Sam says, we see you. Woohoo. That means the party is started. Right on. Robert says, so far, pretty good here from Oklahoma. Right on. Yeah, it's been pretty good here. Robert, we're your neighbors to the west. West? North? Northwest. Yeah, something like that. Scott's here. Scott, what's up? Scott says, good morning. Finally get to watch an episode. Right on, Scott. How are you doing this fine Wednesday morning? Glad you're able to watch. That's awesome. Right on. Hope everybody's got a little drink of some sort to keep your throat from drying out. Mine is, of course, a good old cup of coffee. Right on. Let's see here. Big Sweet is here. Littleton representing. Right on, Littleton. My neighbor's right up the road. What's up? What's going on? Oh, so I want to ask you guys something. As I was getting things set up today, I saw an announcement from YouTube about a new feature of some sort. I didn't have any time to kind of read into it and see what it was all about because I was getting ready to go live. But I saw that now on videos, like if it's a recent one, like the one that I posted this past weekend, the shop update, it says something about viewers can hype. Is there a hype button? I got to look at this really quick. But supposedly it's there to, to kind of help promote the videos. I'm going to look into this really quick because if that's the case, I'm going to ask everybody to go to the last video and hit the hype button. But I got to find this first. So I'm going to go to just a different video of some sort here. And we're just going to click this one here and see what this hype thing is about. Maybe I have to enable it because I don't see any sort of hype something or other. I don't know. Like I said, I had no time to read into this. Yeah, I'm on just a different channel, but I don't see anything about that. So, but anyway, if you guys are familiar, let me know. And if you happen to see that somewhere else, let me know too, because that'd be kind of cool. I don't know what that does, but it says it's supposed to help promote it in the algorithms. Whatever that means. I'm going to try to go back and find that notice. We're going to just try to do this live here. Fans can help you get discovered. Learn more. Oh, maybe I have to turn it on. Hyping videos. Oh, eligibility. Oh boy, it's one of those. Viewers can help. For the first 7 days after you published a video, viewers will see the option to hype. When a video is hyped, where's this option? Do I have to turn it on? Manage hyped videos? How do you do that? Allow viewers. There's an option to toggle the hype button. Well, how do I do that? We're going to figure this out real quick. I'm going to come back to the comments here in a second. Bear with me here. We're kind of doing this in live We're doing this live. I'm trying to understand what we have going on. Is there a setting somewhere that allows people to hype the video? It looks like there is, but I don't know where. I'm just going through the default settings here. Anyway, I'm wasting time. I'm not trying to waste time, but I'm going to do that later. We're coming back. We're back. All right. Sorry. I just had to investigate that because I just read it, like I said, as we were getting ready to go live. So I'm going to do a little more looking on that. Let's see. Paul says, got the weasel poop coffee on the way. Right on. Weasel poop coffee. That's funny. Let's see here. Robert says, I see what looks like your CNC behind you. No, close. It is sort of a CNC thing. That's the laser engraver because that's part of what I'm working on right now, which we'll get to in a minute. Let me catch up on comments here, and then we'll get to kind of what I'm working on. It's a little bit of the same, but some new stuff. Victor Gonzalez says, good morning from Parker, Arizona. Right on. What's up, Parker, Arizona? I'm assuming that's Arizona. Right on, Victor. How are you doing this morning? How's everything down your way? Citizen 1984 says emojis supposedly help too. Ooh, interesting. Let's see some emojis. Sam says every other message I type, I'm getting the error message. Interesting, Sam. And I'm not seeing anything else weird on my end. Like I said, the only thing I can confirm is that yes, something weird happened when I was getting everything fired up for this live. So I don't know. There might be some sort of glitches going on, and I'm guessing that probably is. Robert says, I saw some kind of notification from YouTube, but not sure what it was about. Interesting. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. Me got wood. What's up? Says, hello, Jeff. How are you? Doing good, man. How are you? Right on. How are you? What have you been up to? Projects? Paul says, I think it's just all YouTube hype. Just saying. Don't really see what all the hype is about. Nah. That's what they called it, hype. So I was looking for some sort of a button that says hype or something that you click. I don't know. I don't know if I have to enable it. What I kind of think might have happened is I just saw this notification. So they might have just implemented this thing, and maybe it doesn't do, maybe it's not for retroactive videos. Maybe it's for moving forward. I don't know. Rick's here. Rick says, what's up? Rick, what's going on? How are you doing this fine Wednesday morning? Right on. Cheers, everyone. So what have we been up to around here? Well, let's jump right in. As Robert mentioned it, I got the laser engraver back out because I got a couple more plaques added to the list. So if you saw the video this past weekend, just kind of a shop update sort of project or sort of video, and I was talking about how I basically finished up the plaques for the first round of orders, the majority of them. However, I have been talking to the customer, and we got a couple more to do. A couple more last minute entries come in, and we got a couple more to knock out. So I'm just getting the laser back out, gonna get it cleaned. And, I got to clean the laser head and all that, and the lens. That's the word I was looking for. Get everything ready to go. I need to get just a little bit more walnut. So I'm kind of waiting to see if they had any more additions over the last couple of days, because I got to make a run back to the lumber store to get some more wood. I'm gonna have to get some more finish. The spray clear. Yeah. So got a couple more to do. Not a big deal. It's not going to be included in any sort of video other than this. I'll share with you guys how we're doing on the updates. But as of right now, I only have 2 more to do. But that could change. It could be 3 or 4. I don't know. It's not going to be like 15 more kind of thing. But yeah. So getting ready to knock out a couple more of these plaques. I'm just making some improvements to the program on the CNC that cuts out the plaques, because a couple of them I had the speed a little bit too high. So just kind of fine tuning those things, getting it where it works a little bit better, a little more dialed in. So I got a couple more of those to do. That's going to be all, since it's only a couple, I'm not going to be, spending days and days and days on them. This is literally going to be kind of after hours. Yesterday evening, I kind of went through and figured out I only have a couple little pieces around here that I can glue up. So just figuring out how much I have, that sort of thing. There's no crunch at the moment. Before, I was crunching on them, trying to get them done because it was a lot and it was taking up all of my shop space. But these 2 or 3 or 4 more, that's not a big deal. Also, well, let's see here. Before we get to that, let's do some comments here. Me Got Wood says, working on projects, new guitar build almost complete. I did a 24-inch scale that I created myself. Experiment. Awesome. That's cool. I'll be interested to hear how that sounds. Oh, Rick says, I'm doing good. Right on. Rick says, coffee time for me. Nice. Me Got Wood says, I'll send you a pic. Yeah. Send that sucker over. Robert says, shocking when you finish early on a project and they add some new items to the list. Almost unheard of. Well, and to be fair, I did ask. Last week I emailed them and I said, hey, I got this initial list done. Just completed them. Is there anything else that we need to knock out this time around? So I threw it out there and asked the question because, I did finish a bit early. Kind of looking back, hindsight kind of thing. I would have waited till probably, right about now, the beginning of September, to start on those. But I just know the hassles I had last year, and I thought I want to be way ahead of the game this time. I was probably a little bit early, but that's okay. A little bit of lessons learned, and not a bad way. But I think next year, I would probably wait till about now, the beginning of September, to start working on these. So I just thought, it's no big deal if they have a few more that they want to add. And yeah. And right now, the big downside is, if not really a downside, but if there was a downside, is I have all of these plaques done and they need to be packaged up to be delivered, but I want to deliver them all together. So all of these things are now all over my home and there's plaques everywhere. So, and since I'm a little bit ahead, they don't need to be delivered for a little while yet. They're going to be sitting here a while, but it's okay. The first year was the biggest struggle getting the processes down and all the files in place. This year was really no struggle at all, but I think I started a little bit too early. And next year we'll have everything perfect. At least, hopefully, anyway. So Robert, I know exactly what you're saying, but I just want to throw that out there. To be fair, I did ask if they had any more, since I know we have time. Sam says, are the blades the same for the DeWalt thicknesser to the power planes, or are they different? YouTube kept failing to send that message. Oh, blades the same for the DeWalt planer. To like different versions, Sam? Is that what you're asking? Different brands? I'm sort of going to assume that's what you're talking about. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to say no, if I'm understanding your question correctly. I know the blades for my planer, are not the same for other planers. Like, you have to get the model specific ones. Now, are there some that may be the same? I'm sure there are. But I honestly don't have a clue about all of the different versions and what blades they take. If I'm understanding, and if I'm not, please clarify, just so I know a little better. But I'm guessing you're asking if the blades on the DeWalt planer are the same as others. I don't know. I really don't. And my intention would be to say no. Send Pack in says, hey, late again. Now Rick, we've only been here for 15 minutes. You got plenty of time. Right on. What's going on? How you doing? That's awesome. Let's say, Sam says, the other day I had a rear tooth pulled. I felt fine considering, but my mother passed out for a minute in the surgery. Wow. Dang. I'm glad you're okay. Wow. I've only passed out once. It was so weird. Like I went on a bike ride several years ago with some friends of mine who are avid bike riders. I used to be avid. Now I'm not really avid. It's more recreational, here and there kind of thing. You know, I still enjoy it, but I just don't do it very much. But we went on a ride, and about halfway through the ride, and we'd stopped and, you know, just kind of chatting and taking a break. And I started feeling all woozy and dizzy. And I'm like, whoo, this is kind of weird. So I sat down on this log. I'm like, man, I am really getting dizzy. Like it just kept going. And I'm like, man, I just like laid back on the ground with my feet up on the log. You know, they say to elevate your feet kind of thing. And apparently, boom, I passed out and for like a couple minutes and then came to and was all dizzy and woozy. The only time I ever passed out. Roger's here. Roger Butler says, good morning from Texas. Roger, good morning to you. Right on. Channel member from Texas. Right on. How's everything in Texas? You guys doing all right down there? Sam says, no. Are they the same blade? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Sam. I'm sorry. I don't know which ones they are. I think they're all different. Megat Wood says they're two different DeWalt planers. And they're different, I think. Oh, you're talking about the two different DeWalts? Poor Conservative, what's up, my friend? How are you doing? Right on. Poor Conservative says, no, DeWalt, Delta, Grizzly, Robin, Sterling, they're all use different blade sets. Yeah, that's the route that I was going. I've got what is mine? Mine's a Porter cable. A super inexpensive planer. It was something I picked up years ago at the big box store. It uses its own blades. I don't think it uses any other blade. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm not aware of any of them that use the same blade. You know what? That would be awesome if like these companies would collaborate or even, like if there was, you know, a handful of different ones that the companies use, like that would be cool. Or at least, you know, all of this, like DeWalt used the same one on all of their versions so that there was some sort of compatibility. That would be super awesome. But I don't know, then they couldn't say different blades, which is annoying. I don't know why companies don't think that way, right? Like Henry Ford and the Model T, right? All this stuff was interchangeable. Yes, it was the same model, but you know what I mean, right? You could take a fender off of one and put it on the other one. Why can't we do that with planer blades or joiner blades? That would be cool. Not something they would probably ever do because, well, someone would lose money because they can't charge you for a different blade. Robert says, yeah, I figured you didn't really mind. Just poking fun. Just watched a video of the new hype function. Looks like it should be easy, but it's just supposed to be an option next to the thanks button. Ah, interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm guessing it might not be retroactive, like I mentioned. So if it's something they just laid out or just rolled out, maybe it is. Maybe it's only you know, for future videos. I'm not sure. I'll spend a little more time once we're done, just kind of going through and see if there's a setting or something. Or maybe you saw that in the video. If there's a setting, let me know. Roger asks, has anyone ever sold anything via the Whatnot app? Whatnot app. I have not even heard of the Whatnot app, to be completely honest with you, Roger. But that would be that'd be interesting. I'll have to check that out. Anybody else familiar with that? I personally am not. But inquiring minds want to know. Poor Conservative says Ryobi, Steel City typoed. Yeah, it's okay. Typo happens to me all the time. Poor Conservative, how have you been? You working on any projects or anything lately? I'm glad you tuned in. That's awesome. Kizzy's here. Kizzy says good morning. What's wrong with Texas? Nothing. I didn't say anything's wrong with Texas. Did I? If I did, I was misspoke. I just asked how everything's going down there. Robert says, thing is, I don't even see the thanks button. Okay, so that's weird. I don't know. I know it used to be there. At one point. I remember that. I'm going to go have a look-see here. We're going to go to this video. We're going to go to view on YouTube. All right, paused. There's no thanks button. Why is that? There's no promote. Oh, download. So on mine anyway, I'm looking at the video from 2 weeks ago where I was talking about the luthiers that were quitting taking full custom orders, right? So I'm looking at that one. So I see a thumbs up, I see the thumbs down, share, ask, promote, and then there's the little 3 dots. So if I click the 3 dots, it says download, thanks, clip, save, report. Don't report it. But I don't see any sort of hype. What does promote do? I don't know what that's all about, so we're not going to do that at the moment. But yes, I don't see a hype link. I do see the thanks link, but you have to hit the drop down. Interesting. Huh. I don't know. I probably need to spend more time understanding some of the different features. Let's see. Brian, my hermit life says, good morning, 58 degrees today in Minnesota. Slow day at work. I'm here. Right on, Brian. That's awesome. Yeah, we have definitely been cooler here for sure. We've gotten past our week or so of rainy season, our short rainy season. And things have dried back out for the most part. And temperatures have warmed back up. But yeah, it's been decent. Poor Conservative says money. Yeah, that's why they're not going to do it. It's exactly right. Sen Packin says water dye on the thin line. Sanding back last night had an issue where the grain filled in and it looked like I had filled it with wood filler. ChatGPT is steering me through it. Rick, be careful with that. I've been playing around with ChatGPT a bit. Just be careful. It's still in its infancy, I think. Let's just leave it at that. Sam says companies like our cash very much, so they do sneaky things such as sell the batteries at much higher price. Yeah, absolutely. Robert says the thanks button doesn't show up on the live stream, but it does on a regular video. Still doesn't show the hype button. Maybe you have to watch the video before the button shows. Sam says try refreshing the page. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're going to learn this together. Kitty says, yeah, Roger, my husband sold magic cards all last year. MTG pulls. He still has his account, but he had to take a break with a day job and all. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to have to check into that. I've not heard of Whatnot. Huh. That's kind of cool. Oh, let's see. Poor Conservator says, good morning, Jeff. Doing okay for an old cripple. How you doing, Jeff? Yes, 2 bases and 2 HM Strat clones. Right on. Right on. Poor Conservative. Rocking it. That's awesome. No, we're doing good, man. Doing good. Just trying to, keep things rolling along. That's awesome. Glad you're building. That's cool. Very nice. Scott says hype has been around for a week or so. I sent a hype on a video I'm watching. Oh, okay. So where does it show up, Scott? I haven't seen it yet. Let us know so we can all kind of keep an eye out. Dastardly Dave! What's up, Dave? Dave says sup all. Sam says some adverts are messing up the site. Robert says the demo was showing in a cell phone, not the regular computer. Interesting. Okay, let's look. See if we can find it here. I'm just going to open the page here and find something. I don't want to hear that. Ask, remix, download, thanks, clip, save, report. I see no hype. Ask. Remix download, thanks. Yeah, I see no hype there. Settings? Nope. Yeah, and this is a video, well, it's 2 weeks ago. Maybe I need something newer. Let's see. I'd like to understand this. I think it'd be pretty cool. I want to switch. I need a new video here. Sorry guys, I know this is kind of unprofessional. I'm looking at my device here, but I'd like to understand this. And if we could understand this together. There's a video 2 days ago. Share, promote, remix, stop ads, clip, save, report. It's all I see underneath it. I don't know. I'm gonna keep investigating. Anyway, let's see here. Brian says, may catch you next year when we were back in Denver. Yeah, let me know. That'd be awesome. I'd love to get an opportunity if we can, if we can meet up, even if it's just for, I don't know, for a little bit. And that goes to anybody. If you're in the area, let me know. If we can arrange something, that'd be cool. Scott says, I checked another video. Watching it on my phone, I swiped left on the comments line and hype shows up. Left on the comments line. Let's see. It's not there. Maybe, I don't know. I'm going to get, oh, excuse me. You're getting all choked up over here. Sam says, Jeff needs a hairbrush. I need a haircut. That's what I need. Poor Conservative says, also rebuilding my 40-year-old Yamaha studio monitors. Ooh, that sounds fun. What are you replacing, like drivers or something? Or just rebuilding the case or what? Interesting. Scott, the comments line, we'd make a comment. There are 3 dots on the comments line. I pulled up a video by Wendell Woodworks. Interesting. Sam Packin says, what were you getting to about ChatGPT? He says, I know it's always correct, but it's given me some extensive suggestions on things. Yes. No, I was just kind of being a wise guy. I have had, I've been playing with it here and there for different things and just trying to understand it more. I don't think it's 100% right all the time, depending on what you're talking about. It's done an amazingly decent job though. Yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of poking at it a little bit. It's still growing. Actually, I think ChatGPT, in my opinion, is probably the best of the AI ones. I've also been playing around with that Gemini. That one doesn't have a clue what it's talking about sometimes. At least if you use the live chat version. That one's kind of strange. Scott says, I'm heading to Denver last week of the month. Ooh, that's awesome. Roger says, I rarely take on custom orders any longer. I offer various models of my dulcimers, mandolins, ukulele, and other folk instruments. Basically, I build what I want to and sell without customer pressure. Roger, yes. I 100% agree. And that's what a lot of people are doing now. And that's the video that I did a couple weeks ago talking about that. There's just in my little area here, within an hour radius, I know that there's 4, 5, maybe even 6, but at least 4 that I can name. I'm not going to, but that are not doing that anymore. They used to do full custom commission builds, including myself. I have also done that, and through different experiences, they've decided not to do that anymore. Because there's just too much, as you said it, customer pressure. It stinks, really, because it is cool to kind of be the guy that builds the dream guitar for the customer. But it seems like I mentioned in the video, there's just always some sort of odd pressure there that just makes it not as fun, and I don't like that. I've done customs, um, and I've had great customers that aren't super, super annoying like some people have. I just haven't had quite the problem customers, I guess I should say. I don't like to say that, but it's still, there's a different pressure that I don't like. I don't like it. It takes the fun out of it. So yeah, I got a few different models of guitars that are my models, and that's what I'm going to build. Sam says every time adverts appear and return to the stream, it defaults the stream to its lowest quality and sometimes bumps the chat to the bottom of the screen. I saw that the other day. I was on something, and the chat was in a weird spot. The scroll bar was in a weird spot. It was very strange. They must be rolling out some different updates or something like that. Rick says, how's the weather in Colorado? Get a Led Zeppelin snowboard and catch some air. Rick, if I was catching air nowadays, I would probably break, both my arms, both my legs, and my neck. I've never been good with that sort of stuff. To answer the first part of your question, the weather's been good. Last week was rainy almost every single day. We had rain for almost a week straight, every single day, which I really liked because it was getting really dry. We had wildfires that were starting to pop up in different areas. So I welcome the rain. But I also welcome these nice days we've been having too. I can feel, I don't know about all of you, I can feel the fall change in the air. Do you guys feel that? Or I guess for Harry Dude, that would be the spring. Spring is springing. But I can feel the change. We're still getting nice days. We're still like in the 80s now. And yeah, the weather's nice. But yeah, as far as snowboards and stuff like that, I would hurt myself really bad. I went skiing one time. That was years ago, back when I lived in Pennsylvania. I spent most of the time rolling down the hill, chasing my skis. I did the old classic, I'm on the bunny slope. I did the classic, I don't know how to turn. And I went out into the woods and had to stop myself by grabbing hold of a tree. And that's the truth. I never could skateboard or any of that stuff. Like I step on a skateboard and I would fall on my butt. Just not something I ever did. Robert says, I don't think that the pop-up ads should be allowed during the live streams. Too disruptive when people are trying to keep up with the stream. Yeah, I agree, Robert. The pop-up ones. I don't like pop-ups on anything. Poor Conservator says, replacing the drivers with motor structures and building new internal crossovers. Ooh. Too much spoiled brat BS. Just not worth it after 40 years. Almost 2,000 instruments. Oh, yeah, for the custom stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. And, it seems like, I have not built that many complete customs, but I built enough of them to know that it just sucks the fun out of it. I'm nowhere near, 40 years of customs. And it's just, even if you temper the customer's expectations, you still don't know throughout the build if you've done a good enough job tempering their expectations so that when you give them the instrument, you know what I'm saying? Are they still gonna have higher expectations? I just don't like that sort of pressure. I want to build what I want to build and then sell it from there. The downside, there is a downside to that. The downside is you've got to find the right customer for that particular guitar. The advantage of a custom is, well, it's pretty much sold, right? You've got money is already exchanged hands. At least it better have before you start building it. At least a portion of it, right? So that instrument's sold. With a spec or one of your own guitars, it may not necessarily be sold. I still have I have one that I've built 2 years ago that hasn't sold yet, and I've got one that I built last year that hasn't sold yet, as well as I sold the cigar box guitar. But it takes longer to sell them, right? Because you got to find that buyer. So that is a downside. But I'm willing to take that downside in order to be much. How am I trying to say that? That's a chance I'm willing to take for the less pressure building, I guess. Robert says, any updates on the problem repair guitars? Robert, yeah, man. I meant to ask about that. No, I don't, because I forgot to check in. That's my fault to find out. But I will get an update on that. And the last update I got, which I think I've already shared, was the one guitar was wired together how it should be. Everything was operating properly, but that neck pickup is dead. And I think that is basically where I ended up. So I don't know. I will get an update and I will follow up next week. Sent back and said, Chris at Highline Guitars said the same thing about custom orders. I'm still doing it. I make them tell me exactly what they want, give them the options in each category. Yes, I am not 100% sure, but I know for a fact. I shouldn't say that. That's contradictory. I'm not 100% sure, but I know for a fact. That's not proper grammar. I believe Chris put that video out right after mine. Chris had commented on my video, and I think he also decided to make one on the same topic. I'm not saying I'm a trendsetter, but I feel like that was the case. But it's a good topic, right? Because it's something that is happening, and lots of luthiers are going that direction. Which, if you're looking for a custom guitar, it's kind of a drag, right? Because, you know, and I think Chris said it well in that video. He said, I forget how he exactly mentioned that, but he had mentioned that if you want a custom guitar, you might want to build it yourself, or at least look at building it yourself. And I agree with that. If you want a truly custom guitar, but I also would tack on, if you don't want to go that route, there's nothing wrong with not. You can also find your local luthier, or find a luthier that you like their style, their builds, and just support them. You know, maybe, I'm not saying give up on your dream guitar, but just think about that. Think about supporting your local luthiers. You know, maybe you got someone in your area that builds, you know, maybe support their models, you know, get one of them. And most of them will work with you on some custom things, but yeah. Yep. Poor Conservative says, I'm also moving to Florida next spring and summer. Dude, wow. That's quite the move. Man, Florida. That'd be cool. You can go down there and wrestle some alligators. Sent back and says, I'd end up with a lot of guitars, maybe, that others don't want. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the downside, right? Sometimes you got to sit on one or two for a while, or a few. Sam says, don't forget to smash the like button. It's totally free and most appreciated. Yes, smash it. Smash that like button. I don't know why they say smash. It's not my favorite saying, but whatever. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up. All the stuff. Rick says, falls in the air here on Vancouver Island. Roger's still hot here in Texas, but the 100+ degree weather has broken here in north central Texas. That is good to know. I'm glad. Glad you get, because that heat can be super oppressive. Rick says, Jeff, is it okay if I email you some photos of some of my work? I got a bass guitar and a Strat I'm working on. Absolutely, Rick. Shoot it over. I love to see what everybody's working on. Poor Conservative, built my first full-on custom in 1982 for a local player who still plays it to this day. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that is super cool. Very nice. Yeah, that's how you know. Still playing it. Rick says, just being polite. No worries, Rick. It's all good. I appreciate that. Robert says, I used to be a commercial artist and had the same experience with customers. The worst were when they tell you, I don't know what I want, but I'll know when I see it. Oh, yeah. Well, what do you want in a guitar? Oh, I don't know. Just build me one and I'll, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Sam asks, did you see that battery canal boat in the UK that exploded? I think the battery developed a fault, had a thermal runaway. Wow. No, I hadn't heard about that. Yikes, that's kind of scary. Hope everybody's okay. Man, That's nuts. Was it an electric boat or was it just like the battery storage? Was it one of those long boats? Is that what they're called? Narrow boats. Long boats? Narrow boat. I don't know. Wow, that's crazy. Rick says I'm working on an import 5-way pickup, and I think peg 2 is the middle pickup position. Working on an import 5-way. I hate those 5-ways, or especially the import ones, where it's all the terminals are in a line. Is that one of the deals? Is that what you got going on? You might have to get in there with a multimeter. There's diagrams online. I changed one of those once. It was actually on one of my guitars, thankfully. It was what is that one? I want to say Jackson, but it's not a Jackson. Well, it's a Washburn. This Washburn guitar that I picked up a long time ago had an import switch in there, and I switched it out. I switched the switch to a one of the USA made ones. I forget exactly which version, but it went from where all the terminals are on a circuit board to the 5-way with the different tabs. That was a nightmare. I did not enjoy that because I couldn't find an exact diagram for that guitar, so it was a lot of trial and error. Soldering, desoldering, testing with a meter, soldering, desoldering again, testing with a meter some more. Finally got it to work, but yeah. It wasn't fun. Drizzy Guitars, what's up? Drizzy Guitars, what's on your workbench? What are you working on? You guys know, I want to hear what everybody's got going on. I'm going to show you what else I'm working on here in a minute. A couple other updates. Rick says, I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure, Rick, to be honest with you. Rick says, can I drop a shameless plug? But Rick, sure. Go for it. Rick, yes, it is one with all the circuit board ones. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if there's different versions. But grab a meter. And I'm sure you can find some schematics online too that probably would tell you, at least give you an idea. I don't know off the top of my head. My apologies for that, but I just don't have all of the schematics ingrained in my brain. Sounds like a song. I usually just get a fresh schematic for whatever I'm working on, and I've got schematics taped all over the place on the wall by my repair bench. Pork and Server says, shameless plugs. Is that a hair replacement company like Bosley? Yeah, I'm gonna start promoting them or something. Rick says, have a look, folks. Oh, it's not gonna let you put a link, Rick. Yeah. It won't let you. Robert says, I've seen way too many videos of electric vehicles just spontaneously catching fire or exploding. One reason, I don't want an electric. I have heard about that being a thing. I don't know. It sounds like they see enough of these now on the road that hopefully it's a rare occasion, a rare occurrence. You know what I mean? Rick says, not a link. Oh, I'm sorry, Rick. I don't know what we're looking at, though. It just says, have a look, folks. Yeah, the one downside is you can't post pictures and links and that sort of stuff in the comments. I don't know. Sam says there's an electric recreational narrowboat. Nobody got harmed. Oh, good. Wow, an electric narrowboat. That's kind of wild. I saw a video the other day, Sam, and I thought of you and everyone over that way. But it was about, I don't even know why this popped up in my feed, but it was about I think a husband and wife kind of thing where they're running a narrowboat. And they're like the fuel delivery people, and they run up and down the canals and deliver, I don't remember what all they delivered, actually, like wood and oil, gas. I don't know exactly, but fuel for like people's stoves and things. And they were on the narrowboat, and they'd go up and they'd make a stop, and then they'd go on up, and it was kind of interesting. But it was some sort of, I think the thing was that their boat was, I don't know, 100 years old, or I don't know how old it was, but it was like an old original It's been redone, but it was like an antique or something like that. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, Rick says not a link. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know, Rick. I'm sorry. It just doesn't let you. So do you guys remember? Remember last week I was talking about we were brainstorming this old laptop of mine, the one that had the broken hinge, right? We were talking about different things to do, plug it into an external monitor, just do different things with it. It's the one I use to run the laser, and sometimes I'll use it to run the CNC. And it still works decent, but the hinge had broke, and it was kind of annoying. I fixed it. Fixed it. So I got to looking around online. I'm like, maybe I can just buy the hinges, right? Maybe I can actually just replace these things myself. Well, I saw other people were having issues as well. And I'm laughing because you're going to laugh, I think. The solution that they showed was much simpler than just replacing the hinges. They're like, just drill holes through and put screws right through the case. This is aluminum. So that's what I did. And it works great. It works perfect. Look. It's perfectly fixed. Besides this little trim piece being missing, which I actually have in the house, I think I could probably put that back on. I took out the screws. That's where it was broken away from the plastic here, and I just literally drilled straight through the aluminum outside case and bolted it on. You can see my drilling is nice and straight, but it works perfect. Looks terrible, but it's 100% fixed. Look. And what do I care? It's usually out here in the shop, and it doesn't really matter to me. Maybe I'll put a little black paint on there. Is it sleek and smooth? Nope. But does it work? Yeah. And I had to spend all of, like 5 minutes doing this and $0 because I didn't want to put any more money in this, really. I mean, I probably would have bought maybe a new hinge if that was an option, but no new hinge needed. It wasn't the hinge that was broken. It was literally the plastic that the hinge attaches to. There's a little piece that goes behind here. The hinge is perfectly fine. That's what I thought had broken, but it's not. It just, the part that attaches it to the rest of this had broke. So now, drilled straight through and bolted through this case, it's perfectly solid. And may end up doing that to this side too. But who would have thought? Super easy fix. The only thing that was weird, right? So I had everything shut off. I should have taken the battery out. Probably would have been a smart idea. But when I drilled the hole, I don't know if a little shaving touched something that it shouldn't have, but I saw a little wisp of smoke. Just a quick pff. And I'm like, oh great, I just fried the entire computer. But it works fine. I don't know, I took air and like blew all the stuff out of there. I don't know what that was from, but old laptop, fixed. Sam says not sure what YouTube is doing, but it's annoying. Now Rick says, okay, no problem. Yeah, sorry, Rick. Robert says there have been at least 2 cargo ships that caught fire because the electric vehicles were being shipped and one caught fire. No way to put them out. Ship and cargo were total loss. Wow. Sam says, Jeff, you're a hillbilly. Come on, own up. I'll own up. I'll take it. Yeah, I will. I'll accept that. You haven't seen where I grew up. Out in the woods. I love the woods. I grew up in the woods. Take the woods any day over anything else. Poor conservative. Simplicity is lost on so many these days. Everyone wants clean and pretty, but simple and ugly work too. Rick says CA glue wouldn't work. I tried that actually, and it didn't do anything. I glued it, and it stayed, but as soon as I tried to move the lid, the glue snapped loose. Yeah, it's just not sturdy enough. But those little bolts, are they 1032s? Little screws, they're gonna work, I think. Sam, Jeff has boomsticks in the rifle safe. Poor conservative says he's from Pennsylvania. Yeah. more pencil side than the tucky side, but Sam, LOL. Yeah, so the other thing I'm working on, so if you guys saw the video last week, right, you'll know that my 3D printer has been really busy. Oh, that's what I meant to do. I meant to bring some of those grooming brushes out here and just have them sitting in the back. So I've been printing all the centerpieces for the plaques. I have been, oh, which reminds me, I've got to print to make sure I've got the ones printed for those additional ones too. But so I've been doing that. I've been printing those grooming brushes that my daughter and I have been working on. hbequine.com. Go check it out. Spread the word. Send the, I wish there was a, what was it? Hype button for that. But I've been printing those. But a project for this week I have been working on is involving toolbox drawer organization, right? Trying to organize disasters of wrenches. So this is a project that I've kind of been going back and forth with my buddy Jim, who's on here sometimes, on making some wrench organizers. So that's what I'm doing this week. I'm making some magnetic little wrench holders. So the way these work, I'm gonna have to see if I can move the camera to demonstrate this. Come here, camera. Look down here. Down, a little farther. Okay, I'm gonna have to move this manually. We're gonna move this down here. So what we have here is, these are modular, a little modular deal. There's like kind of a dovetail sort of thing. So they just fit together. But the cool part is, there's a magnet in here. There's a magnet embedded inside these to help hold the wrenches in place. So when you put them in your toolbox drawer, the magnet sticks to the bottom. One of the things that I do not like with almost every other wrench holder is that no matter how nice and neat it looks, when you close the doors and open the drawers, they slide. Even if you have wrench, you know, the mats and stuff, I've got rubber mats in almost every single one of these drawers. They tend to slide around. So these have a magnet in the bottom, so it sticks to the bottom, helps with sliding, but it also helps hold your wrenches up to a certain size, right? Like it won't hold some of these larger ones 100%, but it's not made to pick up and carry around. It's made to keep nice and neat inside the toolbox drawer. So I am 3D printing these to organize my wrench drawers. That's my plan for the next project video, and probably we'll put the file up there somewhere. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, just kind of a cool, not an original, 100% original. I've seen similar things to this. We just kind of took our own, we went our own way to make this work, and so far it's been pretty cool. He's got, oh, I don't know, like 100 and some odd of these that we've already made for him to test, and they seem to be working good. There's got a little bit of an angle here so that it, you know, leans the wrench back, and you can still read the thing. And so far, they just seem to be working really well. So that's another thing that I've been doing. I got to finish printing those. But yeah, just trying to do a little organization, get the toolbox situated a little bit better. Paul says, convert my drill press handle to work in front of the drill press instead of back. Measured order the parts at 14mm gears are too small. Going to try and drill them out, but have 15mm if needed. Interesting. So are you changing like where the quill operates, Paul? Is that what I'm understanding? That sounds pretty awesome. Wow. Let's see. Mika Wood says, did you get the pick? I don't know. I haven't looked yet. I will look when we're done here. Paul says, can you add aluminum can to the inside to make up the thickness? Oh, on the laptop you're talking about? I thought about that. Just a tiny bit. Sam Peckin says, hey, how about plugging me? Ha ha. Ha ha, LOL. Yeah, I don't, what are you wanting everybody to look at, Rick? Do you got a web page or what, yeah, I don't mind. You let me know. Facebook page? What is it what are you looking for? I'm okay with it. You can say it. Rick says, nice, I like it. How much? Well, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to know. You're talking about the wrench holders. That yeah, that was something I was thinking of, throwing them up on the website as a completed deal. If there's interest. Robert says that's a pretty neat idea for a wrench organizer. Yeah, it's a different take, right? On a lot of times, what did I do with those? I don't know where they are. We've all seen the this kind of style, right? This is what I'm going to be replacing. I've got those. I've got like stuff like this, line wrenches, all kinds of stuff. And then there's a giant pile of loose wrenches in there. And it's just a disaster to try to find stuff. Keep in mind, I am not a professional. My buddy Jim is a professional. He's an auto mechanic, and he's got the enormous toolboxes. So I literally printed him like 120 plus a bunch of test ones of these things. And he's got, the giant toolboxes, and he's been using them day in, day out. And they, we haven't had any issues with them. But yeah, it's a little different idea. And that's kind of what I liked about it, because with the wrench racks, you are fixed to however many slots are in there, right? If you maybe have a small set of something and you don't want to use the entire wrench rack, well, short of cutting it in half, you don't really have a whole lot of options. This way, all you do is, you want to, like, this is an entire set of these double-ended ones. That's all I have for this entire set. So I don't need a whole giant wrench rack. So I'll just put 4 of these together. Bam. There's my set of these. Done. And you can do the same thing for whatever it is. My set of line wrenches, I don't need a giant bunch, but I may need a big long line for regular sizes. It's just kind of cool that you can modularly put it together. Paul says, no, table up and down. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't be terribly hard. 90-degree, out to the front. That's a good idea. That'd be kind of fun. I'm just looking over at mine right there. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Let's see here. Sam says, did you see the news about some interesting people talking to firefighters on the wildfire front? I'm not saying what or who. It's not the channel. Just curious. No, I haven't. I don't follow any. If it is news related, Sam, I 100% do not watch it. I literally, this is going to sound bad. Maybe. This might sound bad. I just don't care. I don't care about news. I don't care about any of that stuff. I found, I'm trying to be careful how to say that. I found that, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at that and say I don't need, it's too much negativity, and I don't want that in my brain. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. I personally have chosen to disregard anything related to news. It's just too much. It's too much. I don't need that in my head. That's all. It's not good or bad, I guess. It's just my personal choice. So no, I haven't heard anything about it. Paul says, I'm going to run it from front to back. Gears, rod bearings, hold in place. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I have seen somebody do that, and they used a drill motor of some sort, like a cordless drill kind of thing. I don't remember even how that was done, but they had, wired in up and down, motorized, all kinds of stuff. Kind of a cool project, actually. That's going to be awesome. Send back and Cole Custom Guitars, setups and repairs. Yeah, if you guys want, go check out Rick's work. Cole Custom Guitars. I know he's got some info up there on Facebook and stuff. So, yeah. Robin's here. Robin, what's up? Robin says, hi, guys. Late as usual. Robin, no worries. No worries. What's going on? How have you been? Senpakin says, will the wrench thingy hold a large wrench? 1 inch, for example. Rick, as a matter of fact, it will. So in the toolbox here, I've got some that I've been experimenting with, right? Look, you see them right here? Kind of hard to see. Here's a 1 inch. Now, is the magnet going to hold this completely if I pick up the whole holder? No, and it's not designed to. But I have designed this to hold larger wrenches. Now, in my toolbox, I have it off to the side so that I can keep everything in line and they kind of taper in size. But yes, it will hold this. I've even made this so that it'll fit. This is 1.25 inches. This is a big old wrench right here. It will hold it, if I get it balanced right. I do not use it in my toolbox with this particular wrench because the drawer is not tall enough, right? It just doesn't have enough room. But if the drawer is tall enough, I'll show you how I would run this in my toolbox. So if this were my toolbox, and in order to have, this save space, I've been lining up one side and they kind of taper in, and then I have another set that goes kind of the opposite way. But yeah, it totally holds it right where you can still read the size, and you're like, oh, I need that one. Okay, I'm just going to grab that, do my work, plop it back in there. I'll need the 1 inch. It just holds everything in place. Again, it's not designed so that you could pick this up and the magnet would hold on to it, right? It's really more so to hold it to the toolbox drawer. The fact that it holds onto the wrench is a little bit of a bonus. But yes, I sized these so that it would work with 1.25 inches, although I think 1.25 inches is right on the edge. It almost hits the bench, but it just clears. It's going to depend on the wrench too. If they're oversized, it may or may not work, but it absolutely works with 1 inch. Yeah, and I sized them up, specifically for some of these for these larger ones. Porker says, say it. Politics. Come on, Jeff. No. I would be happy to discuss off camera. Well, not happy to discuss because I don't like to discuss it at all, but you know what I think, It's just not talking about it. I don't have the mental capacity is not the word. It's just not good for the mental well-being. Let's just there. Sam says, gotcha. Robert says, the magnet in the wrench rack strong enough to help hold the rack in place in the drawer? Yes. Yes, it is. Especially when you get more than one. If you have a whole line of these, yes. I have right here from 1/4 inch all the way up to 1 inch, all in a rack, and it does not move. It does not move. Granted, again, I'm not slinging these open 4 or 5. 100 times a day in a more of a professional sort of environment. But my friend Jim is, and I have no reports yet that the magnets aren't strong enough. It's been working out really good. That is the advantage. It doesn't let things slide around. Like, a lot of these, the rubber mat will slide and start to bunch up. I think I've fixed all these recently, but it's really annoying. So it is nice to have them holding everything in place. Paul says had to order two 20-inch aluminum rods. We'll have to cut them and join with a coupler. Think of using the other pieces for pen turning. Oh, that'd be cool. Instead of wood, use aluminum as it looks and turns great. Yes, that would be cool. That would be cool. Rick says, thanks, Jeff. I'm going to count my wrenches. I want some. Great idea. Right on. Yeah. I was thinking, how many, what is this? 1, 2, 11, 12. That's 13. Maybe 14. Maybe I'll do a set of 14 or something like that. Rick says, I'm all about organization. Don't care about the magnet. I want them to make space in my drawer. Yes. That's exactly it. I initially I've been okay with these wrench racks. These deals. I have had these literally since the mid 90s or so, mid to later 90s. I've been using them ever since. But initially I liked these because you could just grab the whole rack, take it to your work. I think the amount of times that I've actually taken the entire rack is probably 0. I usually go and grab 4 or 5 sizes that I think I'm going to need, and that's it. Then the wrench racks, sometimes you got to get them just right to line them up in there, and they don't. I don't know. These little guys are so much easier to just go. I need this one. I need this one. I need this one, and the same to plop them back in. I really like this idea. And like I said, tested. It has been tested in the professional environment. The poor conservative's laughing. Look at that laughing guy. Paul says, if you like, use your 3D printer to make yourself some large blood-sucking insect models. Then you can openly discuss politics. No, but yeah, it's just, you guys know, it's just not something I want to talk about. Several years ago, I made that conscious decision. Actually, I think it was during the most recent large event that we went through as a country, as a world, actually. What was that, 2020? So many people spent so much time watching the events unfold, right? And again, we're not going into discussion because, like I said, this is not the place. But it was about then that I decided, nope, I don't care. I'm turning it off. I don't have the mental, I don't even know what the word is. I just don't want that in my brain. I just don't. I don't know. You guys probably don't. I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'd like to try to be really positive about just about everything. And I started to feel not that way. And I did not like it. So I can say that after I just said, nope, I don't watch the news. I don't read the news. I don't look up the news. I don't, nothing. I feel so much better. Let's see. Per conservative, LMFAO, Paul. Robert says, I bought a tool roll from Fab Rats a few months ago to carry in my car. When I got it, the sockets that came with it were loose in a zip-up pocket. Bought a set of organizers to clip them in. Interesting. Yeah, fellow Fab Rats channel. I didn't know they were selling tool rolls. That's kind of cool. Kind of interesting that they were all, the sockets were all loose though. Yeah, I've been thinking about socket organizers of some sort too with a magnet. I think it would be kind of cool. Maybe the same sort of design, but it's got a nub, that some sort of a nub that sticks up, and you could drop the magnet on, or drop the socket on there. Sockets is another sore spot in my toolbox. I don't have a great solution for that. Rick says, be my running mate. I'm running for president. Rick, let's do it. I'm with you. I'll do it. I'll be your running mate. I don't really think I'd want that. I mean, I'd be down, sort of. That'd be funny. Pork and Server says, Jeff, gotta go. If you're in Michigan, I'll make you a cellular deal. A deal on woodworking machines. You'll be safe. Let me know. I can make a trip. You said you're moving in the spring. I might be making a trip to Pennsylvania sometime or next year. Seriously, if you got some stuff you gotta move, let me know. We might be able to work something out, depending. Robin says, no news is good news. I'm with you. Yes, that's exactly what I believe. Robert says, makes finding the right socket after clipping them in the organizer makes it way easier. Right on, right on. Sam says, towards therapy for almost saying the bad P word. Thank you, Sam. I will put that towards the therapy. Right on. Poor conservatives, yeah, not cellular. I got you. I'm with you. Right on. Yeah, I'm serious. Let me know if you're going to be selling stuff for the move. I might be interested. Let me know. That's all. We'll just go from there. Rick, LMAO. Paul says, want to say thanks, Jeff. Promised to organize my tools and garage this weekend, and now the wifey's standing here getting ideas from you. Appreciate it, buddy. Right on. I am here to help, Paul. And I'm glad that I can help inspire some organizational projects. Right on. Let's see. I'm going to come up with some more for next week. So now you can organize wrenches, sockets. I don't have a great solution yet, but follow for more organizational tips. Let's see. You're welcome, Paul. Eco Woodcrafts. Hey. What's up, Eco Woodcrafts? What's going on? How you doing this fine Wednesday? Right on. What's on your workbench? Right on. So that's what I've been working on. 3D printing, a lot of 3D printing between, the other projects I already mentioned and these that will be hopefully, well, I'm not going to say. It's going to be in the next project video. It's just going to be about making these. Just know that I'm also making more plaques. A few more. Not too many, but. Sam says wood is on his workbench. Eco Woodcraft says art show today. Oh, nice. Very cool. Poor Conservator says 2 big bandsaws, radial drill press, shaper, lathe, clamps, routers, table saw. Just so you know, I need a bandsaw. Paul says she's not in agreement with my chuck it in the drawer, any drawer philosophy. Paul, I am not in agreement with that either. I'm sorry on that one. But I got to disagree because while mine are not in perfect organization, I can tell you that this is all screwdrivers. This is standard wrenches. This is metric wrenches. This is pliers. And I've even been experimenting with plier. Oh, you can't see that. Look over here, camera. Like with plier organizers. Experimenting. But it's not 100%. But we got pliers. And then we've got, I have individual drawers for individual things. Now, are those drawers 100%? No. But I can definitely tell you that there's not one screwdriver in this drawer. There's not one socket in this drawer. Sockets go down here. Hammers go in this drawer. Sam Packin says, got to get down to the shop and get back to sanding and water dyeing. Right on, Rick. We'll have a good one. Yeah, I got to get this wrapped up too. I need to get another few of these printing. So, you probably fire up the laser, work on some more plaques. Ugh, always lots of stuff. But anyway, we're done, Rick. Have a good one. Good luck with that dyeing project. Dye, D-Y-E. Sam says, how come bandsaws aren't very musical? I don't know. I've often wondered that myself. Robert says, a socket organizer, I think, would be easier to buy. There are numerous different types to choose from. Just a bar with nubs to clip the sockets in. Yeah, but This is what I've also had these since the mid-90s. And I'm actually okay with these. What I'm not okay with are specifically the 1/4-inch drive ones. You can see my 1/4-inch drive is, well, it's missing a few. I think because these are so small, they get bent out of shape and they don't hold the sockets anymore, and then the sockets fall off. So while the idea I like, see, look. The 1/4-inch stuff is kind of a mess. Sam says, thanks for the fantastic stream today, Jeff. Sam, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Rick says, do you have a favorite pickup spring for raising the pickup? I like the short springs underneath the pickup. So it depends on how we're mounting them, right? If you're talking mounting them to a pick guard, well, that's a little bit different. But you said under the pickup, so I'm gonna say yes, probably the short one as well. Usually I end up cutting the long ones down and making my own custom length. But also I also like to use some foam underneath there too. Not any special foam. I just use, some sort of foam that I've saved from some different packaging items. I will use the springs, but I also put a piece of foam under there too, which, I don't know, I feel like stops it from wiggling. Sometimes, I don't know if you ever noticed, right, if you're mounting a humbucker from the two ends, it's sort of like a pivot point, right? And the maybe you don't have enough spring pressure or something like that. The pickup can kind of rock. I'll also put some foam underneath, which provides just a little bit more tension to keep it from shifting around. But yeah, I think I agree, the short ones. Paul says, now the wife is saying, if you had a 3D printer, you can make me all sorts of stuff. So bye for now, before she gets more ideas. You're welcome, Paul. Thanks for tuning in. Drissy Guitars says cheers. Right on, Drissy Guitars. Take care. Have a good one. Robert says to Paul, just remember, happy wife equals happy life. Eco Woodcraft says, LOL, I have 2 drawers, one for big tools and one for small tools. Hey! Paul says, Robert, true. That is true. Sam Packins says, celebrate your day, everyone. Right on. Everybody, Rick, thumbs up. You guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to say thank you. This was a fun one. Just getting caught up on stuff. Paul, I know somebody with a 3D printer if you need stuff 3D printed. I've been thinking about getting the second one, but I don't know. We'll see. You guys, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, and I hope all of you have an amazing day, an amazing rest of your week. I hope you get to spend some time, just doing some stuff you enjoy, whether that's, I don't know, reading a book, playing some music, building a project, whatever it is. I hope all of you get some time to do it. Turn off the news, get outside, do something you enjoy. See what I did there? Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate all of you. And until next time. Roger says, later all. Robert says, everyone stay safe and healthy. Eco Woodcrafts, peace. Rick says, take care, Jeff. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you again. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you have an amazing week. Get out in your shops, do some cool stuff. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks a lot for tuning in and coming in live from Homebuilt Workshop. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Your stream will end immediately. Yeah, later, everybody. Thank you.